Oh God, I'm gonna get my glove. Oh, perfect. Oh no, no. Take two. Okay, no one move. Like a pro, look at that. Tina Burner on fire like the Hunger Games. Okay, we're ready. My name is Marmalade and welcome back to Behind the Seams. And we are back for episode 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race US. We have had the design challenge, we've had the entrance looks. When I film these, the first episode feels a little bit rushed. You know, we've got the first runway, we've got the entrance looks, we're trying to figure out what the Queen's styles are and aesthetics are. So there's a lot to fit into those episodes and I feel like I miss out a lot. So now I'm very glad to get into one runway an episode, and these are the runways they've brought from home, they haven't made in the workroom. So we really get to see what their drag looks like when they've had a little bit of time to think about it. They've been able to maybe work with a designer, shop for fabrics, be really in control of their ideas, their concepts, and also their execution. So with the design challenge, if you can't sew, you might not be able to execute your vision, but now you have no excuses. So these looks better be good. I want to say a quick thank you for the response on the last video. I really appreciate all your lovely comments and messages, and I am so pleased that you're enjoying this content because, as I always say, I really enjoy filming it. So thank you very much. I think it's time to get into it. My name is Marmalade. This is RuPaul's Drag Race Season 18, Episode 2, and come with me as I take you behind the seams. So this week's runway is favourite body part, and I think this is a really fun runway because this was a runway they used to do a lot on the earlier seasons, and then for some reason they stopped doing it. I think they started to explore more fun, interesting categories, but it's so nice to have it sort of return and to see what the 2026 interpretation of this sort of runway looks like. It's a very loose category and you can interpret it in a lot of different ways, and so I'm interested to see, first of all, what body parts the queens choose, but also interested to see how they accentuate those body parts and how they tell us straight away coming onto the runway that that is the body part that they're accentuating. So let's get into it. We're starting off with Athena Dion, and Athena is wearing Cassandra Young, and Athena is showcasing her back, and she has chosen to do this with this red bathing suit, with this sort of capelet that turns into a skirt, I guess. Something I really loved about this was the colour. I love that it matched throughout the outfit. I love that it matched through the hair. She's wearing like a rhinestone shoe, which is driving me crazy. I wish the shoe was red. So it's like this red satin paired with this like red brocade. And she's got these like red brocade flowers around sort of the hips and on the bodysuit. I think these flowers are really beautiful and they're crafted beautifully. I really enjoyed them on the hip. I don't love them along the neck. It feels like it closes that area off a little bit and just adds unnecessary bulk around her neck. The cape itself, I liked the layering of the fabric. I think some of the proportions of those layers could have been slightly altered. I just remember seeing a big slab of that brocade on the top and that felt really big and bulky, so maybe it just needed another layer on top, or that layer needs to be shorter. Just something worked out there, I think. I enjoyed that her back was covered until she got to the end of the runway, and then she was able to turn around and have that reveal. I really liked the draped jewellery on the back, and I think the gold metallic tone in the hardware picked up the metallic tone in the brocade, and I really enjoyed that. So overall, I think this is a very strong look for Athena Dion. Next up, we have Darlene Mitchell, and Darlene is showcasing her skin, and I've got to say, I love this diva. I think this is so fierce. Like, it is such a nice palette cleanser to the highbrow goddess fashion drag. It's so nice to get someone who has such like a bold individual take. I love the idea of choosing her skin and going with like a sunburn idea. I love that the sunburn isn't like a bikini shape, it's like a wife pleaser shape. I think that is such a funny image. I love that she's also like sunburned around the eyes and that she had glasses that she threw off at the beginning of the runway. This red mesh short with like the green skirt over it is like sending me. It is so wrong, it's strong. I love the little gauntlets, I love the shoes, I love the socks peeking out. I just love all the pieces together and how they just do not go with each other. She had some whimsy with like the burgers in the breasts. I think that was just one element maybe too much. I just didn't need that. I didn't need that. Having said that, I do think there are some fun ways she could have amped it up a little bit more. I could see her coming out with maybe like one of those like reflective visors that people use when they're tanning. I could have seen her coming out like rubbing baby oil in, and I think she could have made the outfit even trashier. But this is a runway I'm obsessed with. I just love the boldness. I just love the unapologetic, this is my drag and I'm not changing it to appease to what I think Drag Race is. And I feel like that's a thing on Drag Race sometimes where you lose a person's authenticity because the drag they're doing is altered to fit Drag Race, which isn't what you should be doing because you've been cast to represent your drag, so represent that drag. And Darlene is doing it great here. I would not be caught dead in this outfit, and I think that is why I love it. So I'm a big fan of this runway and a big fan of Darlene Mitchell. Next up we have Mandy Mango. Mandy is wearing an outfit by the Quirky Zipper, and Mandy is highlighting her face, which I love as a body part to choose. And she decided to do this by being a photo frame on a hall table at her grandmother's house, I believe she said. So this idea of being like the table, I think that's really fun. I like the idea of taking like a mundane inanimate object and figuring out a way of how do I wear this on my body and how do I turn it into drag. I think Mandy's downfall here is she has got caught up on trying to be too literal. I think she's gone, right, I've got to be a table, so it's got a tabletop and that has a cover. Okay, the cover's purple, but then the bottom's brown, so I need to have a skirt to the floor, and then I need to be on my feet, so I need to have my feet covered in a brown as well. I think that's all great, but I think she's focused on that too much and forgotten the thought of how do I make this look elevated for a runway. It doesn't need to be an exact table, because if you wanted it to be an exact table, you just bring out a table. The point is that you're wearing it, so how do we evolve it? The best example I can give is my gramophone vinyl runway from my season. I didn't come out in a literal wooden box. I chose to put like this brown velvet to nod to the idea of that. So you got the sense of the gramophone, but it wasn't on the nose. And this just feels a little bit on the nose. I really dislike the brown skirt. I am like breaking out in a rash looking at those brown boots that don't match under this like pencil skirt. I like the purple. I wish you'd just done like a purple dress or purple bodysuit all the way to the floor. I wish the background of the photo around her head was slightly different. It's like this brown wrapping paper look. I don't love that. I think the trinkets are cute, but they could just be a bit more intentional. I think 2 trinkets sort of either side that are bigger and more dominant and more customized would have a greater impact than all these little itty bitty ones that you can't really make out. Something I find with Mandy from last week and this week is a lot of the time I like where she's going and I like the concept. I just don't like the final finished product. Next to the runway we have Dee Fuego, and Dee is wearing an outfit by Tim the Lights, and Dee has decided to highlight her legs, and the outfit is like this giant pink boa with just her legs sticking out. The visual at the start of the runway, this big ball of tulle and then 2 legs, I really loved it, especially for this category. First of all, it's like a weird, interesting shape, but also straight away, before anything's said, you know exactly what aspect of her body she's highlighting. I love when she like popped her head up. I thought that was so funny and cute and such like a fun reveal. The tulle itself, I wish it was a bit of a stiffer tulle, maybe more of a dress net, or the fabric had been starched maybe. If the outfit is just going to be tulle, I just wish there was more structure and more shape to that tulle, because it did look a little bit like she just got it out the bag and it just needed a bit of either steaming or straightening out. I wish that the boa, I wish that it was either a ball of tulle that had been constructed to just be a ball and there was no like drop away and it was just this gigantic circle, or the boa itself was so huge that she opened it around each arms and it like flayed to the floor on either side and she had this like gorgeous outfit underneath. Something tells me by the way she's holding the boa, she's not in love with the bodysuit underneath. I can't say that I love it either. It sort of feels weirdly gathered around the neck, and from what I did see of the bodysuit, it didn't feel like it fit her the best. I think even if it was just a more exciting fabric and a better fitted bodysuit, I think that would have helped. Overall, I like this idea for the runway. It isn't my favorite execution, and it isn't my favourite execution. Yes. Next up, we have Mia Starr, and Mia Starr is wearing an outfit by Marco Squared, and Mia is highlighting her neck, her back, and her crack. And I thought the presentation of this was very clever. I love that she came out strategically covering those aspects, and one by one, in line with the lyrics of the song, she sort of revealed away those elements. I thought it was a really good example of storytelling on the runway that isn't overthought. I love that she covered her face. I know that they had an issue with it, but for this runway, I think sort of taking the face away and really focusing on those body parts is a really nice and fun way to go. I also think it's a really bold choice, and that's something I always applaud. I like with this as well, it's the black lace, because if it was just a black fabric, you would really struggle to make out those details, whereas with this, I love that we get the colour of her skin coming through. I think it fits her nicely, the shoulders are done well, I love the way it sort of comes in and then goes out at the bottom. I think there was like a nice drama to it, and I love the headpiece. When she revealed her back, I do wish there wasn't a big zip down the back. I wish she had found another way to add the closure for this outfit, just because the zip was very visible and it was like a little bit bumpy. That just took me away from seeing her back, I guess. There is something slightly disconcerting about seeing a fully covered outfit and then the crotch area just being out and nude. However, given the category, I can certainly forgive that. But overall, I really liked it, and I love that she was the only one that thought about the title of the full category and really thought about how do I do that as like a reveal and like pinpoint it through my runway presentation. So great job from Mia Starr this week. Next up, we have Kenya Pleaser, and Kenya is highlighting her everything, which feels like a slight cop-out from the category, but we'll allow it. And Kenya has gone for like this nude bodysuit with this white cape. I really don't like that she's done the white fabric down the sides of the bodysuit and between the legs. When she started walking, I genuinely thought she had like her cape stuck between her legs somehow. Another reason I have a problem with that is that the bodysuit doesn't cover the foot. It stops at the ankle, which means the white illusion panels stop at the ankle, and then you have her plain foot coming out, which is now wider than the width of the nude fabric on the bodysuit, then into a white shoe. So all around the feet, the proportions of that just look really, really off. Another thing I will say, a lot of queens have done these sort of fully nude, fully rhinestone looks on Drag Race. Like I think Shea Coulee did it, Safira Cristal did it, I think Nymphia did it. And what makes those successful is that they are covered in rhinestones. And the problem I'm having with this is that most of the fabric is just plain. I would need all of it in between all those gaps, like filled in with a smaller stone in a few different shades, maybe like curving around the different shapes and shadows and highlights of her body. I do really enjoy the cape. I like that as an element. It adds a nice bit of drama for the runway, and I liked where it was attached on the shoulders, and I liked the fabric of the cape. Something I didn't love, when she turned around, the cape was sort of attached to like her butt, but like right in the crack, almost like there was like a plug keeping it in. And that for me was just like a bit strange and a bit disconcerting. I would have rather lost that and it had just had like a sort of a halo scooped off rounded effect without attaching to her back at all. All honesty, I didn't love this runway. I don't think it was the strongest presentation from Kenya. However, I will say it's definitely a step up from her previous runway. And yeah, it was okay. It was okay. Next up, we have Sierra Mist, and this is a recreation of an outfit Bob Mackie made. And I think it is a very clever reference for this runway. And I think she has done it spectacularly well. The proportions are all so correct. The shape of those eyes on her head and the fact that they are holding that shape so nicely, I think shows that that has been done so successfully. I love the tulle on the bottom. I love that it's sort of layered with white and blue, so there's like a nice dimension within the skirt. I also love the ruffle across the hip and the way it's on the arms, the rhinestoning on the bodysuit. I just think it is done so, so well. The only thing I would probably change is the fabric on the actual skirt itself, not the tulle bit. It looks like that sort of generic drag stretch performance fabric. I would have loved more of just like a plain flat sequin or something that was like less distinct and recognizable as like a drag queen performance fabric, if that makes sense. That was the one thing that I thought like, oh yeah, that's the fabric down at like the garment districts that all the drag queens get in multiple different colors for their looks. And this outfit is so far away from any other drag costume, but that's a very tiny, minuscule, little small thing. So as I said, this is a recreation, and I don't mind recreations on Drag Race. The only two issues I take are if all of your runways are recreations, and also how obvious the recreation is. So I love this because it is not a common recreation you see on Drag Race. I only get tired when it's like a common trend that just keeps on coming and coming and coming, and you're not doing it any better, so why bring it? Whereas this was not only well done, it was a smart reference. So fabulous job, Sierra Mist, on your runway this week. Next up, we have Nene Coco, and Nene is wearing an outfit she made herself. And Nene is highlighting her brain, and oh my goodness, this queen's sewing ability is next level. I am so impressed by everything she has created thus far. I don't know if it's just the raw sewing technique that she's taught herself, or if her engineering background like plays into it, but the construction on this is immaculate. First of all, the corset, the lines of the fabric up this corset, the way the bra cups are shaped, and then the gloves. Oh my goodness, the petals on this gloves that sort of look like parts of the brain, and the way they're sort of fanned up. And I even noticed as she moved her arms, they just stayed perfectly in place. They weren't shaking, they weren't moving. And this sort of like ruched skirt, like a ruched skirt in a metallic, can look very bad very quickly. And she has done it so well. It is like the perfect length. And then to top it all off, she has made this like hat with the brain. I love the fabric, I love the fit, I love the construction, I love the technique she's put into this. This is just next level. And the fact that she made this herself, my mind boggles. My mind boggles at this. It is incredible. I'm literally trying to think of like, how could we like improve it, make it better? And I don't really think there's much. I think the only thing I'd really have to say is maybe it didn't need the big brim on the hat, because it does kind of look a little bit like a UFO, but that is like the tiniest detail. At this point, that's just like ideas of how can we play around with it to make it even better. I just love it. It is so clean and sleek, and it's just such a good thought process. I just love it. I can't believe the stuff this queen makes. It is incredible. Fabulous job, Nene Coco. Next up, we have Mikey Meeks, and for Mikey Meeks' outfit, the corset was made by Kyle Lane, and then the billboard element was constructed by Jenny Totke and TJ Starr. And Mikey is highlighting her legs, and Mikey has gone for this billboard pin-up concept. So as the concept, I really enjoyed this. I like that she clearly was at home and thought, right, I'm going to highlight my legs, but how do I do it in a way that isn't just wearing a short dress? And I think this idea is so clever. And I really loved how the one leg moved. I just loved it referencing back again to the billboards where they have those sort of mechanical features on them. I would say like a printed outfit like this is always going to be very tough, just because any slight dent or bend or wrinkle or puckering in like the printed fabric is going to show on TV. And there are like a few points where we can sort of see that, but that is very difficult to get like perfect. So I can forgive her slightly on that. And I was just looking at the outfit without the billboard, because she did walk a portion of the runway without it. I really love the construction on this corset. I love the pant, and I love that it's got like a scalloped frilly edge. It really links back to that like lingerie feel. I do wish she had a nicer shoe. And then back to the billboard. I love that when she walked off, she had the like number on the back. I thought that was a fun camp way to sort of exit the runway. So overall, I thought this was a very smart and inventive way to think about the category in a way that I don't think anybody else really thought about it. So great job, Mikey Meeks. Next up, we have Discord Adams, and she is wearing an outfit by Gidget Von Adams, and she has gone for this like black and gold distressed punky drapey sort of an outfit. I will say I don't love this outfit. From the front, I find it to be very visually confusing. There's sort of no rhyme or reason to where the fabric's placed, and then she's got this black pulling across the front, and then there's the gold with some detail here. The breast part I noticed when she was walking didn't quite fit, it was quite forward. But then not only that, the breasts seemed quite close together, and then the waist seemed wider, so it just gave her strange proportions that I know she doesn't have. Also, I don't love these sort of black opera-length satin gloves. They kind of look like the ones you'd order off Amazon. And then on top of that, she's put like these gold nails on the glove, which already I don't love gloves with nails on it. Glove just doesn't feel like it matches the outfit, I guess. And then another big issue I had was I didn't feel like I understood what body part she was showing. And I understand she was showing her back, but because the front, like she had like her leg out and then she had like her shoulders out, it wasn't immediately clear what body part she was showing. And I feel like had all of the front been covered up, then when she turned around, there would have been the surprise of the skin. Whereas by the time she had turned around, we'd seen most of her skin. And not only that, her hair covered the top half of her back. So I just didn't get this for the category. If anything, I would have thought she was highlighting her tattoos, which for me, I think should have been what she was highlighting. But overall, I just don't think it was a very successful outfit. I find it to be just very visually confusing, and it doesn't meet the category for me. Next up, we have Vita Vonte's star, and Vita is wearing an outfit she put together herself, and she is highlighting her butt. And Vita has gone for a very classic drag look, I would say. This like black pleather with gold chains. This outfit I really love from like the waist to the neck. I think the bra and the corset have so much detail in them. I think they're done very well. The hat, I will say, I call them like pizza base hats, because it looks like a queen's just cut out a circle and like covered it with fabric. So like the pizza base style hat for me is a little bit of a fashion trope. It's just like the go-to thing a queen does when she's trying to look fashion, and for me it's a little bit done to death. Also, since she's highlighting her butt, I wish she had a more interesting panty on. Also, the boots, she has some gold detailing on the bottom of the shoes, but I wish that detailing had like come up the leg of the boot, and then the boot had reached higher up her thigh, just so that they were more of a statement of this outfit as well. The overall outfit is a very simple idea, so I just want all the details throughout to be like really thought through and detailed and like on it. She does look great, however, compared to last week, it just isn't as like elevated and detailed as I'd like, but she still looks great. Next up, we have Brier blush, and Brier has chosen to highlight her finger. And straight away, this is such an odd choice that I think I am absolutely obsessed with it. And you know something as well? There's such an expectation these days on Drag Race that your runway needs to have meaning, or it has to relate to something personal about your life or your drag or your family or something. I love that she went, it's my finger, and there's no reason for it. I really like the visual of her being all in black and then just having this one like red fingernail sticking out. What makes this successful is that this is the only skin showing, so you know exactly what body part she's talking about. I do really love the fabric of the bodysuit. It fits her really well. I do think the breasts are slightly too high up. They just feel like in a funny place. And she's got these like silver nipple tassels on them. I would have lost that. I feel like that was trying to add detail where it wasn't necessary. I really love the veil. I love that it sort of covers down to the chin, but on the back it goes to the floor. And the veil, it had like a nice like trim to it, which I also really appreciated. It is a very simple silhouette. It isn't the most exciting thing in the world. However, I do really appreciate it for its simplicity. So a very safe, clear, clean, yet funny and silly look from Brier this week. Great job, Brier Blush. So next up we have Jane Don't, and Jane is doing the second Bob Mackie reference of the evening. Funnily enough, this reference and Sierra's reference, they were in the same like performance number. There were like 5 performers. So it's so interesting that they had the same reference but different outfits. Jane Doan's outfit was designed by her and Lucy Lips, and then the outfit itself was constructed by Brandon No. And I think Jane has combined 2 references here. If I remember correctly, in the performance there's like a lipstick that has like the lipstick on its head, and then there's like a nail varnish person that is wearing like a black bodysuit with the nail varnish stuff. There's something by here on her, and this feels like the marriage together of both of them. These lips and this tongue are constructed so well. Something like this is a bit of a gamble because it could so easily look like a bad throw cushion, but this is constructed so well. The cartoony elements are really great, the proportions are great. I love that there are like gums and there are teeth, and there's even like, is it like the uvula? Is that what that like thing at the back of your throat's called? I also love the slightly punky elements. Like the piercing in the tongue is so fun. I love the choker. I love the spikes around the ankles. I love the bracelets up the arm. And then to top it all off, the lipstick on her head is a great proportion. And again, beautifully crafted. It is so clean. It is so well done, and it feels like the perfect marriage of the original reference, but then taking that and thinking, how is this me? What elements of me can I bring to that? And she's done that so successfully. I adore this outfit, and I am so glad that this idea made it to the runway. So fabulous job, Jane Don't. Finally, we have Juicy Love Dion, and Juicy is wearing an outfit by Francesco, and Juicy is highlighting her right leg, I think she said, one of her legs, and she said this was a Schiaparelli reference, and I'm pretty sure this is referencing a dress that Cynthia Erivo wore to a Wicked premiere, I believe, in London. Straight away when she came around the corner, I immediately felt like this outfit had a great runway impact. Something I've noticed about Drag Race US is that their runway is really dark compared to like the UK runway, and if you're wearing any sort of dark colours, they can really get lost on the runway. However, on the flip side, if you're wearing a bright dominant colour, that really stands out on the runway. And that is what is happening here for Juicy. The way the tuile's done, I love that there's the little plume on top of the one hip. The struggle I'm having is that it doesn't feel like the silver reflective part fits into this style of a skirt. I do think the best way to like combat that is there is like a Victor and Rolf runway where they do like tutus and they're cut so cleanly that like all the ruffles just lie so perfect and like sharp. I think something like that around the silver edge, almost like the skirt had been sliced and now we have her leg sticking out. I think that would have been really successful. I really love the shoe that she's got on. I think that's really pretty. I really love the headpiece. I love that she's got the skull cap. Another thing I didn't love with the earrings, like she is all red apart from the silver by her leg, and then she's got silver here. So I would have just loved either a smaller earring or like a red earring, or just, since she's wearing a skull cap, no earring. But I do think it is really beautiful. It looks very well made and it looks like it fits her gorgeously. And I love the reference. I just would have liked to play around with the skirt a bit more. However, I think it is a very strong look for Juicy Love Dion. And that brings us to the end of yet another episode of Behind the Seams. And I've got to say, I think this was a pretty strong runway because this category to me feels quite difficult. It's difficult to come up with an outfit when you need to highlight something that isn't the outfit, if that makes sense. So I think there were some really strong attempts here. I also love that a lot of the queens didn't take it too literally. There were some fun ideas, some silly ideas, some new ideas, ideas that you wouldn't have immediately thought of a body element to highlight for this category. And I love that. But that's everything from me today. As always, please make sure to like this video, to comment on this video. Let me know, what do you think? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I encourage you to disagree with me. You can tell me I'm wrong. I can take it. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Aside from that, you can still get your tickets to my show, Marm Spotlight, coming to Manchester in less than 2 weeks now, before we head on to Bangor and Cardiff and all of the other dates we have for the rest of the year. Check the link below to see which cities we're coming to. You can subscribe to my newsletter so you can be the first to hear about any new shows that I've got on or what I'm doing, so that'll be down below. Also, I do want to put out there, UK vs. the World 3 has just been announced, and I am considering doing a behind the scenes for it, but obviously it will be at the same time I'm doing season 18, so it'll be a lot of work, so I'm on the fence, but I will only do it if you really, really, really want it. So comment down below, let me know if you'd like to see behind the scenes for UK vs. the World. And I think that's everything. I have been Marmalade. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you same time, same place next week for episode 3. But until then, mwah.